We'll get through this again. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Faith in us. We always do somehow.
We always have a good time. My name is Eileen Ryan from Pounding Pavement 101. I'm an executive recruiter and a job search strategist. I'm here with my son, Jacob. So you get to see my son today. He's in the midst of a job search. And we are going online and sharing his stories and his experiences through the job search process. Jacob was telling me about a story last night about one of his experiences, and I wanted to share it with all of you out there because I'm sure a lot of you are going through very similar situations. So, Jacob, why don't you start us off and tell us about the call that you received?
So I get a call at 8 p.m. at night, uh, for a possible interview, one of those many calls that we job seekers get from recruiting agencies. And uh, as a scientist, I like to get all my information. So I said, sure, send me the information. And I that night I looked it over a bit. They sent over a link to a HackerRank test, and that
So they were
was
so this recruiter was sending you a test to do.
yeah, but that's also pretty common from recruiting agencies.
Okay.
And I clicked on the HackerRank test to get a little more information, and it was 70 minutes long. It was 8:30 at night. I wasn't doing it that night. So I wake up the next day and I go to take the
Now, wait a
test.
second.
It's seven.
For all the people who are watching this, if someone sends it to you at 8:30 at night, the sooner you get something in, the better off you're going to be. So I know that my son Jacob wakes up at like 4 a.m. every morning. Why? Because he plays Wordle and then he shares it with me. So this way I know exactly when he woke up. Okay. But this gave him the opportunity to do the test fresh, awake. Okay. And then submit it before the recruiter comes in for the day. Okay. Because you don't want to wait 24 hours because you want to strike while the iron's hot. Okay. Continue the story.
And so when I went to take the test, again, it was 70, the time limit was 70 minutes. I start taking it and I notice a few things. One, the language that I had to take it in wasn't the recommended language for Android development. So instantly I was thinking, that's weird. Secondly, all of the questions seemed like they were from a programming 101 final, maybe midterm. And I completed the entire test, which I think was 8 questions, in 5 to 10 minutes.
Of course you
And,
did.
of course. And there were no questions about Android itself, which I also thought was weird. And then a couple hours later, once I woke up a lot more, uh, the recruiter called and I brought these concerns up because I have a lot of experience, and this really felt like a hey, you don't know anything about programming or Android, but if you have an interest, we could help kind of test. And they said they would see if they could find out more information. And then we're deciding on a time to get on a call. They tell me 11:30, and then when the invite was sent, I got it at 1:30.
Okay.
And I reply saying, because the invite came as soon as we got off the call, and I replied to the email saying, hey, didn't we say 11:30, not 1:30? And they replied with something that didn't make sense, but it sounded like we were going to be on a call at 11, which ended up not being the case.
So, as a job seeker, how does this make you feel about that recruiter and about that company?
It's frustrating, and like they don't know what they're doing.
And that's what I want everyone to hear. Okay. And I want the recruiters to hear this also, because they are representing the company. And the image that they're giving is that the company doesn't know what they're doing. So not only does it hurt the recruitment process, it hurts the company brand. And would you buy a product from that company? Would you go to that company for any kind of expertise? No, that recruiter is the first line of impressions out into the world.
So I actually forgot to mention something about the initial call.
Go ahead.
They called and said, "Do you have any IT experience?" I've been doing software engineering for about 6, 7 years now, and I have zero IT experience. And I mentioned that, and their reply sounded like they were thinking, "Oh, I made a mistake."
Now, is it a job you applied for, or is it a job that you received the blanket email?
It was one of those random calls from a recruiting agency that,
So they probably
yeah.
saw either your profile on LinkedIn, they either saw your resume that you've posted, because I do have a list of 266 job board postings. And for those of you who are watching, you can get that. I will leave the link in the comments for that. So they contact you for IT experience. This shows that they have no understanding of software engineering, no understanding of the IT world. They're a quote unquote technical recruiter, but they don't understand the people who they're contacting or the field.
It felt like, as you said, they didn't read at all and they were just trying to meet a quota.
Wow. What a shame. So where'd you leave it with them?
So I get on the call because, you know, got to see what's going on.
And you
And
always take, for all my viewers, job seekers, you take all calls because you never know where they're going to lead. Keep going.
so they start explaining the position, but a few things stood out to me, which was weird. They had this training program for, I think it was like 6 to 8 weeks,
Hmm.
in which they would pay for me to fly to wherever, but in return, I had to accept all projects they gave me, no matter where it would take me for the next 2 years.
Wow. And I've never heard of this one. This would concern me almost like it was a scam, actually, because they're going to fly you somewhere, pay for your training, and then you have to be available at a moment's notice to fly anywhere to do whatever project. It's almost like servitude.
Um, and so uh, I had jokingly asked because, as I mentioned, I've been in Android development for 6, 7 years now. I jokingly asked, "Can I just take the final exam or submit a project that I've already done so I don't have to do that? Because I'm not I'm not just starting." And then they mentioned that this was for an entry level position, in which I'm not entry anymore.
So they missed the fact that you were not in IT. They missed the fact that you're not entry level. They were willing to fly you and give you 6 to 8 weeks of training. So that means that they were paying for training, paying for a hotel. This is leading into that type of a scam type call, that then they would maybe give you money to deposit into your account and then be able to access your accounts. Okay, keep going.
Um, and that was kind of the end. I said, yeah, no, I'm not going to do this. And I still had another question because which we never got to, but I'm sure this is the case. In the document that they had sent, kind of detailing some of this, it was talking about frameworks that I don't use or uh, use for Android development. And I I would like to learn anything, but for Android, there's a certain path that I want to go down and learn, which they weren't doing.
Well, that's a good thing that you were able to stop it there. But on the flip side, gee, if they had said all these things, I would have been concerned. And we haven't mentioned the company, and we're not going to, okay, because we want to protect. Maybe it was a real job, okay, or maybe it wasn't. But I would definitely recommend doing your due diligence, checking out the company, especially before you give out any banking information, any personal information. There needs to be a signed offer letter on your desk. Now, there are websites that you can go to, like the Better Business Bureau, or even Glassdoor, or even just check reviews on Google to see if anyone else has received calls like this from this particular company. And even still, there are posts online on some of these job boards that are fake posts, that they say that they're representing the company and they're not. And I've heard a couple of stories like that all of a sudden they're receiving documents on company letterhead, and then when they contact the company direct, there is no such company. So job seekers, you need to be protective of yourself while you're job searching. Really do your due diligence, check things out. A lot of my clients who are job seeking, because of my program, Pounding Pavement 101, where I'm teaching people how to develop resumes based on how recruiters search, interview preparation based on what recruiters are actually listening for in their responses, and then job search strategies, how to create visibility, where to find that hidden job market, and then how to streamline job application processes. But my clients will contact me and we will investigate this together. So at least they have a second pair of eyes on the situation. Jacob, thank you so much for sharing your story. I have a feeling we're going to have some more stories coming up, more videos with your job search, because boy, this is interesting. I'm so thankful that you're sharing your stories with everyone so this way they can benefit from it, protect themselves, and know that they're not the only ones who are receiving calls like this. So, Jacob, go back to job searching, start pounding pavement. You are a client of mine. You're the number one client. Oh, I treat everyone as my number one clients, but you'll be in my Q&A, my live Q&A session today, hopefully. So this way you have a community of people and you that can support you and listen in to other questions from other job seekers as well. For everyone who's watching, if you are interested in learning how these recruiters are operating, please grab time on my calendar. It's at gethired.careers. I will leave the link in the comments for you. And then you can always get on my calendar and learn more about my program, poundingpavement101.com. I do offer a free training session. You can find that at my website, again, www.poundingpavement101.com. Everyone, happy job hunting. Thanks, Jake.